Hello, this is Nitin Dahad with the Times. I'm here at Qualcomm in San Diego, and I'm talking to Anshuman Saxena, who's head of automated driving and at Qualcomm. Hello, Anshuman.
Hey
Hello.
Nitin, nice to have you here at in San Diego. Welcome.
Thank you, and thank you for inviting me. I think it's been a very one of the things I think I find about these things is you do briefings on the phone or whatever. That's not the same as coming and seeing real life demos and talking to people, getting a deep level of understanding of what you're doing. And I think what I've learned over the last 2 days is just a lot of what you're doing in that autonomous. Sorry, I shouldn't say autonomous because people sort of get the wrong idea. Automated driving and ADAS
yes.
features, but also cockpit and Qualcomm
Absolutely.
Ride and cockpit and all that. It's been quite interesting. But one of the things I think you said yesterday is, and I think it's public information, you achieved 55% year-on-year growth in automotive in fiscal year 2024.
Yeah.
What's driving this, and how much is automated driving a part of that?
Great. Actually, first of all, thank you for visiting here in San Diego. It's always good to have all of you here to kind of give you the real experiences versus talking about it, showing some videos. Once you feel it, really, you can connect the whole Snapdragon digital chassis, which is really the core of what we are doing here. Snapdragon digital chassis comprises of Snapdragon auto connectivity, cockpit, Snapdragon cockpit, Snapdragon Ride, which is our automated driving and ADAS branding, and the car to cloud solutions and services.
And we saw bits of all of that this week.
Exactly. That was the
days.
intent, because you can see one piece of it, but only when you see the whole thing, you can actually kind of appreciate the whole digital chassis concept, because that's what automakers are looking at. Right? That's how they see the whole problem, and we are trying to do the same over here at Qualcomm, and which is the core of what is driving our revenue growth, as you called out. We had a pretty good last fiscal FY24 with the 55% year-on-year growth, as you called out, and we really feel proud of it. We have been doing auto connectivity, and actually a lot of growth has been coming out of the Snapdragon cockpit solutions in the last fiscal. With the Snapdragon
Ride.
This
demo card demonstrates the cockpit actually.
It demonstrates the whole digital chassis with a lot of focus on cockpit, because you can touch and feel. For AD/ADAS systems, you wouldn't have to go out, which again you have experienced here while you were in San Diego. But yes, this has a complete experience of the whole Snapdragon digital chassis, and that is the core of what has been driving our revenue. We have guidance that we have given for FY26 and now FY29 on $4 and $8 billion for the automotive revenue, respectively, and automated driving and ADAS is going to start contributing significantly as we see the upcoming fiscal years.
Those are quite ambitious targets, $4 and $8 billion. I've seen a lot in the last 2 days, but one of the things I think you're betting on is that whole driving experience and the intelligent driving experience, but also I think the move from L2, L2 Plus to L3. Can you just describe to me all the sort of technology blocks involved in enabling all of that?
Absolutely. So I think the important piece that automakers are kind of looking at us across the whole vehicle lineup is to allow them a scalability. When we talk about scalability, we talk about scalability from entry tier vehicles to the luxury tier that they have, something which is meeting the automotive standards and the safety and reliability, globally deployable. So these are like the fundamental building blocks. Many have to do it, and we do it as well. But most important is, how do you bring the experience? How do you connect to the user who is going to be picking up your and take the car and drive it around? Because car is becoming a digital living space. Now, experiences can be brought in from all the surfaces, the audio sensors, the way you talk to the car, and personalizing all of that. But think about it. There are so many sensors around the car. They are designed primarily for safety. So safety is front and center. That has to be done. But how can you use those sensors to bring in the solutions connecting back into the cockpit is becoming a central piece of all of our innovation with the customers. Now, when I say that, it is an assumption that there is a level 2, 2 plus, level 3, level 4 kind of systems that are there in the vehicles, which again are driven on Snapdragon Ride solutions. Our focus right now on the consumer vehicle space is a lot more on level 2 to level 3 transitions, where there is a whole lot of requirement, expansion of use cases. There are use cases like highway navigation on autopilot, moving towards suburban to now urban address to address navigation, where you can put the address on your navigation app and say, you know what, can you take me there, and the vehicle would drive you around. But it does not get into the mode where it is what you would call is a completely minds off system. We are talking about
eyes off or minds off.
We are talking about hands off, moving towards eyes off for some limited use cases, and that is the level 2 to level 3 transition. That is the focus area where we are engaging with our auto customers. And by the way, when you are putting your car into a driving mode of L2 plus to L3, there has to be a communication with the user interface, and that's where the compound AI, we call it, which connects the cockpit to the ADAS.
Yeah, and I think you talked a lot about compound AI, but one of the things I think you try to make a key point of, and I think you and your colleagues, is how this relies on something different, which is decision transformers, as opposed to the normal way you'd go and use AI, and that enables that edge AI.
Absolutely. So that's again a great question. See, the way we have been doing ADAS AD solutions, it is typically how the sensors sense the things around the car, give some information, and typically you go by rules, a rule-based approach as they call it, like, you know, if this happens, do this, if that happens, do that. The use cases are expanding, significantly expanding. The scenes that you have never seen are going to be there. You go to structured to unstructured environments. You have to have a much bigger data-driven approach, which is called as an end-to-end network architecture approach, where you have some input, have some output to get. But when we do this, it does not mean that you can kind of drop the capability of finding out information from in between the steps of the end-to-end transformers. And you have to have something that we feel, again, very confident on, a safety guardrail.
Yeah, I think you've made quite a point on safety guardrails.
Exactly, right? So when it's a data-driven approach, you have trained a solution, a system based on a lot of data, but you still need to have checks and balances, which are with a proven on-road system, which we have been doing for last 4 to 5 generations. And that is what we call as a safety guardrail on top of this end-to-end. Now, to your question, actually that's a very interesting question. The decision transformer approach that we are putting together is basically a place where you can, instead of going the rule-based thing, you can have what we call as a AI-based planner and decision maker, where you can, based on these things, these scenarios or the agents around you, what is it that you would want to do, or how do you predict what those agents going to do? That is the whole decision transformer which we are trying to bring in as part of our end-to-end network architecture. By the way, we will talk more about these things depending upon we go into, but let me use the opportunity to talk about compound AI as well.
Sure.
These transformers can give you information which again is not necessarily used for driving purposes immediately, but can give you some user experiences or what we call as explainability from the car.
Yeah.
So why did this lane change happen? Or can you take me to that specific parking spot which is next to my friend's parking spot? Those are the conversational things which can be an input into the driving solution, or can be an output from the driving solution to tell how the car is thinking about this. This is where the decision transformer comes in, feeds back to the system, and you can have a very good way of communicating with the vehicle.
Now, one of the things with that is, I think you talked also about having a software stack. I mean, you talked about the 3 different pillars, you know, the sensors, the data, the intelligent compute, and then the software.
Yes.
So I think with that software stack, I think you can create one which is 90% for a global environment, and then you have to 10% for all the different environments, whether it's, you know, Asia, China, Europe, US.
Yeah.
And that actually, you know, accounts for all the corner cases that sort of meets the regulations and safety requirements of all these different areas. Just tell me about, like, there's a lot of work involved in that, isn't there?
Absolutely, right? So think about this solution that we are just talking about. I mean, each of these problem statements are real complex system problem statement. It's not just, oh, I have to make a chip or I have to make a specific middleware. It is understanding the system and the user experience that you're talking about. And if you start doing a top down from there, you have to understand that there is a specific compute need. And these compute needs are really high performance, but at the same time have to have the goodness of how do you manage the power consumption, how do you have heterogeneous computing, etc. Core of Qualcomm. The second important pillar to realize any of those use cases is to have a lot of information, a lot of data, which again, with the foundation models coming in, there is a lot of data that is available, but then there is a lot of data that is collected from the vehicles on the road. The sensors are all active sensors, they are bringing in a lot of information. That data is, and the data loop, and we call it data and simulation factory inside Qualcomm. That loop is the second important pillar. And then the third one is, once you have the compute and the data, what are you building it for? That's the software stack, and the software stack is getting kind of very, very expansive and complex, because the expectation is you are upgrading your features for the software defined vehicles, the over the air upgrades, etc. Right? So now when you bring all these things together, we are trying to look at it from a cockpit problem statement, a ADAS or AD problem statement, merging problem statement, and trying to take it down, drill down to the actual SoCs that we are building. So that's how we look at it on a daily basis.
And just at that higher level, you've got this, I mean, we had a demo of the data simulation
Yes.
in the factory, and then you've also got partnerships with companies like BMW to sort of have access to live data. I think it's a small figure, but I think you're talking about 6 million miles or kilometers of data, but I think that's going to grow.
Absolutely.
Just tell me a little bit about that, how that, and you create digital twins. We had some amazing digital renderings on device
Yes.
of that digital twin of the car.
Yes.
Where does that all play into?
No, so as I said, right, I mean, the big data play is a super critical play to realize what we are putting it as an ambition. But if I just talk about that, you need to have big data, Mr. Customer, they'll like, okay, how do I solve? It's not about just getting the data. At Qualcomm, we have been picking up this problem statement for last multiple years while we had been developing the grounds up stack publicly talked about our partner BMW. We have built the data pipeline where we have a great way of ingesting the data, enriching the data. Enriching the data basically means you have to identify what is the real valuable data, which could be your in-cabin sensors, outside sensors. It could even be your audio information that you can bring in. What is the real useful data?
Yeah.
How can you query into the data? How can you use that data to train the models that you're talking about? Annotation of the data, we are talking about real sensors. Think about so many cameras and radars. How can you automatically annotate? Otherwise, it's going to go to somewhere in Asia and try to do the manual annotations,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So bringing it is for what reasons? Cost reduction.
Yeah.
OpEx is super high, so we have to have the right cost structure. We have to have the right time to market, and have to have this digital twins on the cloud with the real actual implementations of the hardware, or maybe at times even the physical hardware, because you want to create this scale of real-time validation and training on the cloud, where again we have a partnership with AWS, which we have publicly talked about, where we have put Snapdragon on the cloud, whole pipeline of the data factory, which is available to multiple customers, including our lead customer, BMW.
Okay. One of the things with the demos, and I think we can talk about the big auto manufacturer in Northern California, and they've got these features already. But with the demos, you're trying to demonstrate this L2 plus type of capability. I think I had a conversation for you to do that. I mean, it costs probably around $50K, whatever. But ultimately, you're trying to get this to a mass market. Is that right? The automated driving.
Absolutely right. I mean, so the philosophy is still the same. Whether you take names of specific automakers, the three pillars that we are talking about are the central piece of all of those things. Qualcomm's advantage is that we can bring to the automakers a lot of these things kind of prepared so that they can get to the market much faster. They still differentiate significantly to the value additions that they bring so that they are connected directly to their customers. We are the technology provider behind the scenes, whether it is to do with the data pipeline, whether it is to do with the cloud-based solutions, whether it is to do with the actual stack or the compute platforms. And that enables the automakers to bring in these experiences again in their own avatars, own variants, own connection to their customers, but we are enabling all of those solutions to them.
Excellent. Now, at lunch we had a conversation about Qualcomm's general image in the automotive sector. I guess you've been working behind the scenes, but maybe you're still known for that sort of mobile and IoT. But probably, what are the challenges you're seeing in sort of getting your brand out in the automotive sector?
Interesting question. I would say we feel super proud about Qualcomm being a leader in the mobile space, and we have been enhancing and bringing in a lot more innovative products, whether it is to do with our connected solutions or the PC compute. A lot of traction on those. We have recently announced the Dragon Wing brand with all of our IoT solutions, and automotive has been a big brand.
Okay.
So it might sound strange, but we are in automotive since 2002. It's not new to us.
Okay.
We have been building safety products for multiple years. So Snapdragon Digital Chassis is already a strong positioning. We are enhancing it, innovating with our customers on a daily basis on Snapdragon Cockpit and Ride platforms so that we can bring better experiences. And I think the value addition is that how much AI and Gen AI capabilities and the innovation that we can bring to the automakers, which is what
I think I saw a press release from Renault last week and they're working with Ampere, which I think you're an investor in, and developing that whole IVI and the customer experience. Is that right?
Yeah, so we have global customer base across the board. We have pretty much on Snapdragon Digital Chassis, you would see majority of the automakers already kind of using some part or form of the Snapdragon Digital Chassis. We have global customer base on Snapdragon Ride as well, whether it is in North America, Europe, or Asia. And we are continuously growing that because, again, innovation and technology is the future.
Okay.
It's not just about building the cars. It is about what experience the car is going to give to you and me as a user, which is the core thought process that the automakers are having, and we are a part of that thought process.
Finally, you're at the Shanghai Auto Show.
Yeah.
What can you tell us about what's going to be happening there with Qualcomm?
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah. So, are you going to be there at the show?
We'll have our colleagues in China probably, but
great.
not. Yeah.
Great. No, yeah. I mean, yes, myself, and some of us are going to be at Shanghai Auto Show. It's great to be in the auto show there, and we have a pretty good, significant presence at the Shanghai Auto Show with multiple, again, car lines launching on the Snapdragon Digital Chassis. A lot of cockpit focus enabling the new experiences, and on Snapdragon Ride 2, we have been partnering with Leap Motor. We have been partnering with FAW and many more that we will be discussing in the Shanghai Auto Show, where you can even see the experiences of automated driving solutions, driving on Snapdragon Ride SoCs, and enabling the local ecosystem.
And what excites you about the industry right now?
Wow, the technology that is available, where you can just talk to the car and car becomes your navigator, your passenger. You can make your Teams calls while you can put the car into a hands-off mode. All these technology areas are kind of just building a new set of use cases. Plus, there are some of our automaker customers who have shown us brilliant demonstrations where now they are even talking about emotional connect of the car to the user. Think about it. That's like a really big, important thing, how the car can connect to the user in an emotional way.
I've actually seen Bentley do that with a company in Cambridge, creating the mood music depending on
Yeah.
the road surface and
Yeah.
the driver's emotional state and all that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Right.
so
I mean,
at the high level, high end, I think it's already there.
you spend a lot of time in the car, and the technology and the capabilities and the computing, sensing so much of information, maybe at times even about yourself, which is again the reason why Edge AI is important, because it is your emotions,
Yeah.
your information. It has to be within your car, within the.
And that's where the DMS is actually quite useful as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, I mean the DMS, the object, the occupancy monitoring. How is your kid doing? I mean, if the car connects with my kid,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful.
Well, Anshuman, it's been great talking to you. Thank you very
Great.
much.
Yeah. No, thank you, Nitin. Thank you very much.
Thank you.